Hello, so I'm a little bit late, but I still want to do the wrap up for what I read on February of 2025. So I didn't read that much, but I still read some, so I still want to talk about it. Um, Even if I just read one book a month, I want to keep doing this just for my just for the sake of keeping record of that. Anyways, so on the previous video on January wrap up, I mentioned two books that I was reading, but I wasn't able to finish it on January, so I did finish them on February, and one of those was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, which is her memoir, and I enjoyed it. It's a little bit strange, as I said in the previous video, it's a little bit strange to say I enjoy it because it's like someone talking about their real life and real stuff that happened. So it's a little bit strange to rate it like, oh, I gave it 4 stars to this issue that you, I don't know, that you went through, or all of this trauma that you went through. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I gave it, I think, 4.5 stars. I no 4 stars. I gave the oh, I actually finished it on February 1st, so it was the very first thing that I finished on February. Yeah, I listened to the audiobook in like 2 days. I think it was on like a weekend that I finished it, and I enjoyed it. It was very insightful. If you are, I mean, I'm not a big like, oh wow, oh my god, like a big Britney Spears fan, but I do enjoy a lot of her music. It's very nostalgic for me, and it's really good. I still listen to them, well, some of them, um, to this day. And yeah, it was very interesting to see what was really happening on her mind, during certain things that she did on her career and whatnot, because a lot of stuff, a lot of people were saying a lot of different things when the shit went down in like 2018 or 19, I don't remember, like about the Free Britney movement. um so yeah, it was really, I mean, there's a lot of shitty stuff that happened to her. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was really interesting, and yeah, I would recommend it. um the other one that I read after that I was also reading on the January wrap up, was We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver. I finished it on February 5th, and I gave it 3.75 stars. Let me show the cover, see if it shows. Kind of, there it is. So this is a thriller. Well, for me, it's a thriller. Here it says that it's a fiction horror. I like the alternative universe aspect of the book. That's a topic that it really intrigues me. So I enjoyed it. I like the fact that we were not spoon-fed exactly what was happening. Like throughout the book, you were kind of, I mean, you're kind of figuring it out, or trying to see what's really happening, trying to, make your own conclusions, come up with your own conclusions. But at the end, I enjoy it. I kind of wish that there was more after that, but I think that's the point of not explaining so much at the end. I feel like I can't really say much without, giving spoilers or something. But let me see if I can read a brief description. So it says, as a young queer couple who flip houses, Charlie and Eve can't believe the killer deal they just gotten on an old house in a picturesque neighborhood. As they're working in the house one day, there's a knock on the door. A man stands there with his family, claiming to have lived there years before and asking if it would be alright if he showed his kids around. People pleaser to a fault, Eve lets them in. As soon as the strangers enter their home, uncanny and inexplicable things start happening, including the family's youngest child going missing and a ghostly presence materializing in the basement. Even more weird, the family can't seem to take the hint that their visit should be over, and when Charlie suddenly vanishes, Eve slowly loses her grip on reality. Something is terribly wrong with the house and with the visiting family, or is Eve just imagining things? Yeah, it's very when you mentioned the basement, those scene on the basement, and I think there's also um a scene in the attic where Eve gets stuck like in the attic or something like that. That was really creepy, and I was imagining it, and while I was reading it, I was getting freaked out. Like I was getting scared, and I haven't felt that feeling with any book. I mean, I haven't read a lot of horror books, or well, yeah, in this case, I think a horror slash thriller would be a good description for the book, because a thriller usually don't freaks you out or don't scare you, but this one did scare me on those. They were really creepy, like just imagining the what was happening on the basement and on the attic. It was really really creepy, and I enjoyed that. I like that really strange scenes and weird things happening. So yeah, I liked it. I've heard about this book a lot about from a YouTuber that I follow, and she always recommends this book, and I finally read it and I liked it. As I mentioned, I give it 3.75. I think right now I would give it like a 4, just remembering that I did enjoy it. I mean, it was a solid book. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. And yeah, so We Used to Live Here was the second book that I read. After that, I kind of got in a, well, maybe not in a reading slump, but I read A Short Stay in Hell. This is a short book with 104 pages, and I have listened or I have heard about that book a lot, and I finished it on February 6th. I gave it 3.75 stars as well. So this is the cover. I actually had started reading it before, but I paused it for a while. It's not very noticeable, but there it is. It's like a big, 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 never-ending library. So the topics or the genres of this book is fiction, literary, magical realism, dark, reflective, blah blah blah. Blah. Fast-paced, yes, it is very fast-paced, and here's a little bit of a description. Well, an ordinary family man, geologist, and Mormon, Soren Johansen has always believed he'll be reunited with his loved ones after death in an eternal hereafter. Then he dies. Soren awakes to find himself cast by a god he has never heard of into a hell whose dimensions he can barely grasp. A vast library he can only escape from by finding the book that contains the story of his life. In this haunting existential novella, author, philosopher, and ecologist Steve L. Peck explores a subversive vision of eternity, taking the reader on a journey through the afterlife of a world where everything everyone believed in turns out to be wrong. The average rating of this on Storygraph is 4.12, and it has 17,500 reviews. And yeah, it's very fast paced. I kind of wish, I mean, it's a novella, so I understand why it's really short, and they really didn't get really deep into certain things. But I mean, I would have enjoyed it more if it would be longer in certain things, certain relationships and things that happen to the main character. But overall, it was really interesting. It was easy to read, so I would recommend it. There's a reason why it's very popular. So yeah, that is the other one that I read, and the last one that I read on February, and I finished it on the 21st. Is The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia, which is the first book on the Poisoners series, When I started this, I didn't know this was a series. I just literally started reading it because a YouTuber recommended it, and when she showed the cover on the video, I was like, hell yeah, this is what I want to read. So this is the cover, The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. And this was my first fantasy horror romance book that I've ever read. So at the end, I think like the first quarter of the book I did enjoy it, but then, and especially at the end, I didn't enjoy it because it was more like, I don't want to give spoilers, but the character, like in the beginning, the character seems like a badass, like she's the poisoner. So I'm going to read a short description. So it says, have you ever wondered how long it would take for a lethal dose of arsenic to kill you? 35 hours, 29 minutes, and 50 seconds. I should know. I counted myself. What? Alina Lees, a botanist and hobbyist poisoner, has a pastime of killing unsavory men in her twisted sense of poetic justice. When she targets the conceited playboy Silas Forbes, only to find him in her apothecary the following week, she discovers human men are the least of her problems. The pair's unlikely association sparks gossip among affluent society as their mysterious bond deepens, a chilling truth emerges, concealed identities, lurking foes, and questions as plentiful as the Hydra's head brew within this haunting Gothic tale of violent passion. It has an average of 7.71 on the story graph, and as I mentioned, the beginning I enjoyed it. I'm trying not to be too professional about this because I don't even not a professional about this, but I'm just gonna explain it how with my words, right? So the beginning I enjoyed it because it was my first time reading something fantasy, so something that can't really happen on real life, specifically on the first. So it has quite a bit of spice, and I'm not used to reading spice and whatnot. So, but the first scene surprised me, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Give me more of this. Like, I want to know what's gonna happen. I wish that they would have waited a little bit more for them to meet, or for them to have a spice scene. But then, as I mentioned, in the beginning, she seems like a badass. She poisons men who are doing wrong to their wives, to whatever. So that's a very interesting topic. But then she becomes kind of this very, what's the word, submissive to this guy, and I don't like that. And at the very end, it got even worse. So at a certain point, I was just reading it to see what would happen and how it would end, and just to finish it basically. But I'm not going to read the second book. I'm still going to give it a try to more fantasy books, but yeah, I like the beginning, as I mentioned, like maybe the first half, but after that I wasn't a fan, and I gave it 3.5 stars. And that's the last book that I read in February. I haven't been reading that much lately. I've been reading or listening to the audiobook, the memoir for audiobook, the memoir audiobook from Malala Yousafzai. Malala. It's called Finding My Way. I've been listening to this audiobook for a while, and I haven't finished it yet. And also I started reading, oh my god, give me one sec. Yes, and also I started reading, yay, here it is. I love when I can show like physical books because I barely have physical books. And Sally Rooney, you know, I loved. Oh, I also have the other one book that I love, but um, I loved Normal People and Beautiful World. Where Are You? I have that book in physical as well, but you know, I already read it. And I was like, you know, I really love those two Sally Rooney's books, so I'm gonna get it. The other one that I haven't read from her, literally my bookmark is Some Pills. Um, yeah, and I started reading it. Let me check. Yeah, I started it on February 22nd. At the beginning, when I started reading this book, I was really feeling like reading like a fiction contemporary. This is exactly what I want to read, and I got really into it. Like I like that feeling when you can't wait to keep reading. Like, oh my god, like I was like, no, I don't want to work. I just want to keep reading. I don't even want to. I don't know. Like I was trying to find every single minute that I have free during the day to read, but that only lasted like 2 days or maybe 1 day and a half or something. And then I don't know. I guess it's just something personal, not something with the book, but that feeling went away, and then I've been reading it slowly but surely. So I'm almost kind of halfway. So this is what I've read so far. Today is March 8th, and I started it on February 22nd. I'm not reading every day. I try to, but I'm honestly not reading every day. I'm gonna try to read today a little bit more. So this is a story about two brothers, and they're, well, the main like blurb, is that how you call it, is that they lost their father and they're grieving, and we're just going through their life and showing their relationships and everything that they do in their life and whatnot. And that's my kind of shit. But right now I think I'm kind of in a reading slump, so I'm gonna try to read a thriller. I've heard from some other readers that when you're in a reading slump, a thriller is a really good option to get you out of the reading slump. So I'm gonna try to do that, like to read those Sally Rooney and a thriller on the side to get the reading juices flowing, and hopefully I mean, at the moment when I was really excited to read this, I was like, oh my god, I don't want this book to finish. I'm gonna take my time, like calm down. But now I'm like, I kind of want to keep reading and to see what happens and whatnot. I mean, this is not a plot driven book. It's more like, you know, contemporary fiction, just showing, if you read Sally Rooney, you know, it's just showing people's struggles, relationships, and whatnot. And I love that. But right now, I think I need a little something else to make easier for me to keep reading. Yeah. So this is what I'm reading. Hopefully next month I can show that I finished it. And yeah, that's what I read, and this is what I'm reading.